to be doing that here. So my final presentation for this class was to create a slideshow and present a series of verses. And I thought about all of you, the Sunday Feast Talk. And I thought about I can use this final presentation when I get back. I can use it as a Sunday Feast Talk. So we're going to be hearing about Sri Suka Shiksha. So Shiksha means instruction. And Shukadev Goswami was a great sage. And he spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam for the second time. And he, in that way, enlightened the king Maharaj Parikshit. So we're going to hear about that. And the theme of this whole talk is overcoming bewilderment. Because in this world, many people are bewildered. Many people are confused. Many people are unhappy, dissatisfied. They're struggling in their relationships. They are fighting in so many ways with family, friends, the boss, the job. So it's called Kali Yuga. We're in a time in which there's a lot of quarrel and hypocrisy. It's said in this age that everybody is short-lived, unlucky, lazy, misguided, and above all, they're always disturbed. So it's not a very good time to be alive in the cosmic sense of things, because in this age right now, it's an age of degradation. And so it's described that there is one solution to that degradation. And it's described that this Bhagavat Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, this nice book here, Kirtanesvara, it's brilliant like the sun, and it's after Krishna departed to his own abode, the Bhagavat Purana came to give light to those who have lost their vision in this age of Kali, this quarrelsome, hard age, this age of struggle. So we're going to be talking about that, overcoming bewilderment, Sri Suka Shiksha. So I want to give some background. Everybody is bewildered and everybody needs a solution. And our understanding is that in order to actually solve the problems of life, one should approach someone who has become freed from the entanglement and the bewilderment and the confusion that affect people in this world. So one should approach one who is freed from bewilderment, and we call that approaching a guru or approaching a spiritual master. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Tadvini pranipatena pariprashaneva sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Krishna explains that one should learn the truth by approaching a bona fide guru, a real spiritual teacher. Inquire from him very submissively and render service unto him. In this way, one can become free from bewilderment, because such a person is a tattvadarshi. He's seen the truth. He has actually glimpsed the absolute eternal world, and therefore he can teach us to come to that level. So in ancient times and in very spiritually inclined, right? You go back thousands of years, people were more spiritually inclined, and therefore they many times sought out a guru. They would seek out spiritual teachers because they understood, I'm entangled, I'm bewildered in this world, and I'm confused, and I want a solution to my problems. I want to free myself from death. I want to free myself from fear. And so in that way, such would seek out a spiritual teacher to inquire from and to learn the truth. But in the age of Kali, we're so bewildered and so confused and so overwhelmed by our own senses, we don't even have the desire or the inclination to seek out spiritual knowledge so much of the time. So in this age, many times the guru seeks you out, just like our Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement. He crossed the ocean at the age of 70 with no money and had 2 heart attacks on the boat to come here just to seek out individuals who are suffering in this world and give them spiritual knowledge by which they can become enlightened and free and happy. So in this Kali Yuga, many times people come and they seek you out. The guru seeks you out. So we wanted to look at this this background here. And this is text, Canto 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter of that canto, and this is text 37 and 38. And what we see here is there's a great king, Maharaj Parikshit, and he's been cursed to die within 7 days. And so he's inquiring from his guru, Shukadev Goswami, what do I do? And he says these beautiful questions. And I was just saying the other day, yesterday or Friday in class, that quality of the questions you ask in life generally determines the quality of your life. Like I was saying, sometimes you meet people and their question, hey man, you have a cigarette? And they ask questions like that. So, but the questions is going to determine the quality of your life. So these are the first class quality questions of the great sage Raj Rishi, saintly King Maharaj Parikshit. And he's speaking to his guru. He says, "You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die." This is a very powerful question. What is the way of perfection for all persons, and especially one who is about to die? And his next question, please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all of this to me. So this is a very powerful series of questions here. Maharaj Parikshit is asking, how do I attain perfection? What even is perfection? And even in that, what should I hear about? Or what we hear about is going to determine the quality of our lives. What do we put in our ears? Just like what we put in our bodies, what we put in our ears also is a type of food. It nourishes us or degrades us. What should I hear about? Chant about? Remember? What should I think about? Who should I worship? And what should I do? Please, what should I not do? Please explain this to me. So I'll give a little background here. Here we see this nice picture I found of Maharaj Parikshit. He was a great king. In fact, he was such a great king that he saw Lord Krishna, he saw God in the womb. While he was within the womb, he was so spiritually advanced that he saw the Lord due to the prayers of his mother for his protection. In the womb, he saw a vision of God. And so he came out of the womb and he always was seeking God. And he was coming in a very powerful line of Kshatriyas. He's the grandson of Arjuna, so extremely powerful, great king. And he ruled his kingdom very firmly, very strongly. In his kingdom, no one died early. There was no bad weather. He was so pious, and the people in his kingdom were so pious. They generated so much good karma that there was no calamity. That's the level of God consciousness he had. He was actually a great saint, playing the role of a king. But once he went out on a hunting trip, and by Krishna's arrangement, he became somewhat bewildered. He became thirsty. He became very, very thirsty. And so he saw that there was a hermitage of a sage named Shamika Rishi. And he went into that hermitage and he said, "My dear sage, I'm very, very thirsty and I'm your king. Can you please give me some water?" But the sage was so absorbed in meditation that he did not answer Maharaj Parikshit. So Maharaj Parikshit said again, "My dear sage, please give me some water. I'm very, very thirsty. I'm the king, Come on, man, I'm the king." And Shamika Rishi remained in trance. And so Maharaj Parikshit, in a moment of anger, said, "Okay, Mr. Sage, I'm going to garland you." This is the tradition you do with a great saintly person. You generally put a flower garland on them. But as you can see, he decided he would garland Shamika Rishi with a dead snake. So he placed the dead snake upon Shamika Rishi, and then he left. And it's described that he immediately felt bad. Why did I do that? Why did I put a garland? Why did I garland this great sage with a dead snake? So the sage woke up and he threw the snake off and he didn't think anything of it. But the sage's son, Shringi, he was very offended. And he was only a little boy, but he was very offended. But he had all the power of a great Brahmana. Therefore, he cursed Maharaj Parikshit. "I curse you to die in 7 days by the bite of a snake bird." That's a dragon, those who don't know. Flying snake. So he cursed him to die. And then the father was really disturbed. "You cursed the king to die. What's wrong? He was a saint. He just had a moment, Now we're really, in trouble. You cursed this great king to die. He was so wonderful to us." And so in that way, Maharaj Parikshit came to know that he was cursed to die. And so he learned that I have 7 days left to live. Now, Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, often says that Maharaj Parikshit knew for sure he had 7 days. We don't even know if we have 7 seconds. So Maharaj Parikshit utilized these 7 days in the most beneficial way. He utilized them in realizing himself, in understanding God consciousness, understanding and connecting to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So here we just see again, there's the need for a guru. And this is a verse I already quoted. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they've seen the truth. And here we have a picture of our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and his guru, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So coming to the point of finding his guru, Maharaj Parikshit wandered onto the bank of the Ganges, and he was seeking a guru. And by Krishna's arrangement, because of his great sincerity, his great longing, by Krishna's arrangement, the most qualified spiritual master, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadev Goswami, appeared. Sukadev Goswami was a great enlightened being. From the womb, he was enlightened, and he became further enlightened by hearing his father speak about Krishna. And therefore, he came out of the womb, and immediately he was enlightened, and he wandered off into the forest to engage in Krishna consciousness. And many people thought he was just a crazy fella. But actually, those who had real vision can see he was a great sage. So here we have Shukadev Goswami, and he's speaking to his disciple, Maharaj Parikshit. He says, "My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists." So once again, I explained the quality of the questions you ask in life is going to determine the quality of your life. So Maharaj Parikshit asked these beautiful, glorious questions like, what is the duty of a man about to die? What should I hear about? What should I chant about? Who should I worship? What should I remember? And what should I not do? So questions are beneficial to everybody, because by hearing them, we're going to get benefit. By hearing the answer to these questions, all of us are going to get spiritual benefit. Therefore, we should ask good questions. And when approaching a spiritual personality, one should have good inquiries. This is the message here. So in short, what not to do. This is my little summary, then we'll go in depth. What not to do. Don't talk nonsense. What does that mean? Don't speak that which is irrelevant to our real purpose in life, which is spiritual. Don't talk nonsense. Don't hear nonsense. Many people spend many, many hours putting garbage in their ears. They're just meaningless chatter, politics, sports, whatever it is. They put that in their ears, and it diverts them from the real essence of life. What is the real essence? We're spiritual beings, and we should realize that for a sense of eternal happiness. Don't waste your life on temporal things. So there's so many things in this world that are temporary. Don't waste our lives on these things. These temporary things last for a few minutes at best. And if we spend our time absorbed in that, then we'll lose the real goal of life. We'll lose the spiritual essence of life. So we shouldn't do that. Don't forget, you will die also. Many people, they live as if they're immortal. They live as if they think they're immortal. They don't realize that actually death could be right around the corner. And therefore, one should utilize this life in such a way that I understand where my consciousness, where I, the soul within the body, because we're not this body, we're the soul within the body, where will I go after I leave this body? What body will I take? One should live a life in awareness of that. It's called sobriety. And don't forget what really matters. So what to do? We should hear about Krishna. We should actually hear about the personality of Godhead. We should learn what is spiritual knowledge. That means learn what are the instructions, what is the message of the Lord, and who is the Lord, and what does the Lord do, and what is my relationship with the Lord. Glorify the Lord, and remember the Lord. This is actually our spiritual purpose. We should live in such a way that we're always in yoga. And yoga means that we're always connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's possible to live in such a way that at every moment you are fully aware and conscious and connected and feeling the presence of the personality of Godhead in your life. This is what we call bhakti yoga. So, here we go. Here's the first instruction. So after Sukadev Goswami says this very first instruction, he then said, he glorifies Maharaj Parikshit for asking nice questions. He then says his very first instruction. He says, those persons who are materially engrossed in the knowledge of the ultimate truth have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O emperor. So he says that, one should not be apashyatam atmatattvam. One should not be blind to knowledge of the absolute truth. If one is apashyatam atmatattvam, then there's many, many subject matters for hearing. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashaha. There's thousands and thousands of things to hear for a human being who isn't full of self-realization. There's many, many things we can hear. And so I just gave some examples. This is just, mundane magazines, not on any political side or anything. These are just, I was just putting this in for my presentation. But the idea is that we shouldn't be like completely unaware of what's going on in the world. However, if this is our focal point in our consciousness, then this is not actually beneficial. It's not elevating us. It's not actually raising us. It's not going to bring us lasting happiness. So there's many subject matters for hearing if one is a pashyatam atmatattvam. If one has no self-knowledge, then they'll hear many, many things. So, like I said, garbage in, garbage out. We put so many garbage in our ears, then we'll just speak garbage. And we'll agitate people, and we'll become agitated by people. And that way we'll get in so many arguments. And we'll be very strong in our opinions, which is just boosting our false self, our false ego. It's nothing spiritual. So that's our real goal of life. So then the next instruction he says, the lifetime of such envious householders at night, either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in the daytime in either making money or maintaining family members. So I actually asked AI to generate like what an envious couple looks like. And that's what it manifested as. And you can see he's looking at the neighbor's Mercedes over there and thinking, why don't we have that? So the idea here is that, of course, we're not saying that one shouldn't have a household, one shouldn't have a family. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that one should not lose track of the goal of life. That if you spend your life totally engaged in these familial engagements, in material sense enjoyment, trying to enjoy the senses, trying to just maintain this perfect standard of living, this American dream, if we spend our lives absorbed in that, then we're going to lose sight of what really matters. And it's a symptom, it creates a very envious mentality in people. Because when you're in the material world, when you're trying to become happy from temporary things, you'll always find envy because someone always has more than you. We find that even the richest people in the world, they have more money than everybody else in the world combined, and they're still obsessed with earning more money. And they're, very unhappy. I think Jeff Bezos, he had it was like a $20 billion divorce. You're talking billions of dollars. So, it can't even have a nice marriage. And I have all this money in the world. So this should not be our focus. We're not saying you don't make money. We're not saying you don't have a family. We're not saying you don't work, maintain. No, but we're saying don't let that become the goal of life. And God will take care of you if you put him first. That's a guarantee. So this is the message of Shukadev Goswami. Next, he says, persons devoid of Atma Tattva, do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. So this is a very powerful verse here, which I've been meditating on a lot because I've known some people who were not spiritually inclined who have left their body, and it's very sad to see, and it's very happy to hear that our dear Neha, she was spiritually inclined, and therefore the devotees were present, there was chanting, I was hearing Kirtan Yagya and Nadi Bihari were going and speaking, the Bhagavad Gita was being read. This is glorious. And so this is not an example of that. But those who are devoid of this knowledge, this spiritual knowledge, Deha Patya Kalat Pravdish Atma Sanyashvasatapi, Tesham Pramato Nidhanam Pashyanapi Napashyati. These people who are devoid of spiritual knowledge, they take shelter of the body, and they take shelter of the family, and they take shelter of the country, and they take shelter of so many things to satisfy them. What does that mean? How do we take shelter of the body? How do we take shelter of the body? Because there's an innate sense of dissatisfaction. So we take shelter of the body by intoxication. People, they consume intoxicants. This is a way of taking shelter of the body. They take shelter of the body by mundane entertainment. They take shelter of the body by engaging in so many activities that don't bring about spiritual realization. So they take shelter of things that are fallible. Even our family, our community, all of that is ultimately temporary. We're spiritual beings, we're eternal beings. And everybody's an eternal being. But if we take shelter of the temporary shells, we take shelter of this body, then it doesn't save us at the time of death. That's the point. That no matter how much money you have, no matter how big your family is, how wonderful your material circumstances are, at the time of death, none of that will give anyone solace. None of that will give one spiritual realization. So we shouldn't take shelter in these things. And we should not live our lives in such a way that we ignore this inevitable end of this chapter and the beginning of the next chapter. This is the spiritual message. This is the sobering message of Shukadeva Goswami, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the personality of Godhead, that one should not waste their life taking shelter of that which is temporal. They should instead take shelter of that which is eternal, that which is spiritual, that which will uplift them on the spiritual platform. Not that we don't love, we don't have affection for all those temporal things. Like, I think, the Beatle, John Lennon, he said, although there's many things that came before, in my life, I find there's something more, right? So we should take shelter of something greater and not take shelter of that which is just temporal. So the real solution, and this is what Shukadeva Goswami, he says, this is what you should not do. This is what you should do. He says, O descendant of King Bharat, one who is desirous to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. So this is the activities of a spiritual being. It's the most fundamental and basic spiritual understanding that we're not this body. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's first instruction is that you're not this body, you're the soul within the body, and that you're eternal. That's the most basic and fundamental spiritual knowledge. First and foremost, I'm not this temporary body. I'm not an American. I'm not an Indian. I'm not a male. I'm not a female. I'm not my job. I'm not even the things I've done in my past. I'm a spiritual being within a temporary body, having a human experience. And that is the basis for our spiritual development. We have to come to this platform. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nasochati Nakankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. Krishna explains that one who actually comes to this platform of realizing I'm not this body, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, such a person is prasan, his atma, his soul is fully joyful. He's always joyful because Nasochati Nakankshati. He doesn't lament for that which happened in the past. And he doesn't hanker for that which is coming in the future. He has self-satisfaction. And in that state, he sees that all other living entities, whether they be black, white, male, female, whatever their past may be, he sees them as innately spiritual beings. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. He sees the spiritual essence in all of them. And therefore he offers respect to all living entities. Such a person, mad bhaktim labate param, such a person can develop real love in his heart for God and for all living entities. So if we want to have actual love, first off, we have to see everybody as spiritual. And in that way, we can actually elevate our consciousness and become very loving. So therefore, if we understand that I'm not this body, I'm the soul in the body. I am the soul within the body. Therefore, what is the next step? I understand intellectually, I'm not this body, I'm the soul. What is a soul? I heard all about the soul growing up in church, but I didn't know what the soul was. It's just that thing that we always say, I have a soul. I'm the body, but I have a soul. But no, it's the opposite. I am the soul and I have a body. So we always hear, what is the soul? So what is the soul? I'm the soul. I'm spiritual. What does that mean? So this is a logical question. So if I'm not this body, I'm the soul. What does a soul do? What are the activities of a soul? So Krishna explains this in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Mavaivam sho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. That all the living entities in this world, all the souls are my eternal fragmental parts. So you are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Good news, folks. You are part of God. Mamaivam sho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. You're an eternal fragment of the personality of Godhead. That doesn't mean that you if they take you away from the personality of Godhead, he becomes less. No, he remains eternally powerful. But at the same time, you are his energy. You are of the same DNA as that supreme spiritual source of everything, whom many people call God. We call Krishna. It has unlimited names. But you're part of that being. And therefore, you have on the spiritual platform the same qualities, meaning you are entitled to have the same level of happiness that God has. You are Sat, you are eternal like God. You are Chit, you are full of knowledge like God. And you are Ananda, you are blissful like God. And if you are actually functioning properly as a living entity, you will feel Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So we can understand that if I am not functioning on the platform of Sat, if I'm not feeling myself as eternal, if I'm not feeling myself as full of knowledge, and if I'm not feeling myself totally blissed out all the time, then I'm not functioning properly. I am under the influence of the material energy. And therefore, an intelligent person will inquire, how do I extricate myself from this position? How do I extricate myself from this position where I will be functioning properly? I want to function properly. I want to be eternal. I want to be full of knowledge. I want to be full of bliss. And therefore, the activities of a soul are that he is loving. First and foremost, the main activity of a spiritual living entity, which you all are, is that you are full of love. But love requires an object. And the object of that love is, first and foremost, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. If one develops and increases his relationship with the personality of Godhead by the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By this process of chanting the name of God, one can awaken their original Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Maharaj Shukadev Goswami is explaining to Maharaj Parikshit, O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries. How many want to be free from all miseries? One who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme controller and savior from all miseries. So our spiritual activity, our activities as a body vary. If I'm in a male body, I may do different things than if I'm in a female body. If I'm in an American body, I may do different things than if I'm in an Indian body. But when I accept I'm spiritual, what is my paradharma? What is my supreme occupation? That is Bhakti Yoga, Ahaitukya Pratiyata, unmotivated and uninterrupted love for the Supreme Lord. This is our real spiritual activity. Therefore, one should engage in what Srila Prabhupada translates as devotional service. One should serve God. And the most primary process for doing that is explained here. We can hear about God. We can chant about God. This is what we're doing here. You are hearing and I am chanting. This is a spiritual activity. And it's very satisfying because it's on the platform of the soul. And if we continuously stay in this state of consciousness, then very soon we will realize our spiritual identity. So in this way, we're not this body, we're the soul. And we have to act as a soul. We can't act as a body. We can't say, I'm the soul, but I act as a body. No, we have to understand, I'm not this body, I'm the soul, and therefore we act like the soul. And what does that mean? That means we love all of God's parts and parcels, but first and foremost, we serve God. By serving God, we'll naturally develop love for all his parts and parcels. I promise you. Just like if you water the root of a tree, the entire tree becomes nourished. But you cannot water the leaves of the tree and expect the tree to live. You must water the root. And the next instruction that Shukadev Goswami gives, he says, the highest perfection of human life, achieved by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duties, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. So it's described in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna describes that at the time of death, the culmination of what we cultivated in our consciousness over our lifetime will be present before us. And that feeling is going to determine our next destination. So Prabhupada often said, if you live like dog, you take dog body. If you live like cat, you take cat body. So what is it we're cultivating? This human form of life is not meant to live like animals. Animals are absorbed in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, but the human form of life is greater. It's meant for something more. The human form of life is meant for spiritual realization. And therefore, one should live spiritual. One should live a spiritual life. What does that mean? That means to live a life in connection with the personality of Godhead. Live a life of bhakti yoga. And therefore, one who, at the time of death, can wholeheartedly remember the Supreme Lord with love and devotion, such a person does not take birth in this body, take birth in this material world again. He does not take another body. He takes a spiritual body, and he goes to the eternal abode to engage in loving pastimes with the personality of Godhead. This is the actual position of the living entity. So, therefore, we should very seriously take this Krishna consciousness. This is a scientific movement. This is not a religious movement. This is a science. One who lives such a spiritual life at the time of death will be able to remember the personality of Godhead. Such a person will transcend this material reality and enter into the spiritual reality. Even before death, one will experience such a thing. If you live a spiritual life, if you practice this process, which culminates in chanting Hare Krishna and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing this spiritual science, if you practice this process, you will understand in truth that the personality of Godhead is real, because that will be completely evident to you. You cannot take that away from someone who is seen, someone who is experiencing. Just like we may not see the personality of Godhead, but we can understand he's there. Just like the sun rising from the sky. We don't see it coming above the horizon, but the symptoms that the sun is rising have already appeared. There's light, the birds are chirping, the darkness is going away, the temperature is rising. So in that way, one who practices Krishna consciousness, one who engages in this science with their whole heart, such a person realizes that the personality of Godhead is here. Srila Prabhupada in the Krishna book, he says, if you chant Hare Krishna, one will realize that you're always in Krishna's company. You're always in company of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, this is the real solution. And that solution is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the deities in Mayapur Dham. I was staying here at this temple for about 4 months. So every morning I would see this beautiful sight. These are very large deities of the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya, the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared to teach the chanting of the holy name, and his associates. So they're about 12 feet tall. 12 feet? 11 and a half feet. So Sureshwar Prabhu is there also. So they're about beautiful, beautiful place. And chant Hare Krishna in this temple is very powerful. So this is our conclusion. This is our message to you tonight. That take some spiritual knowledge. We have, after our artik, we're going to offer everybody a Bhagavad Gita. Take some spiritual knowledge. Read that spiritual knowledge. And come in here. We do class every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And chant Hare Krishna. Because this is a science. And if you do the science means that it can be repeated. You'll get the result. A plus B equals C in all circumstances, in all times, and in all places. Therefore, apply the science. We can't say, I believe in God. Yes, you can believe in God at the beginning, but you come to a point where belief is no longer a factor. Belief is not a factor because one is having experience. And this is what we want to have, because by giving you an experience of God, you will transform as a person. Are there any questions, comments, criticisms? No? Sureshwar Prabhu.
Why it was Maharaj Krishna, you said he was a saintly king. What was he out hunting? Doing hunting? What is that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, I'll just say by 2 points that actually there's many disasters. Like if there's any downfall of the saintly kings in the Bhagavatam, it generally happens on a hunting trip. Just that should be noted. But actually, many of these saintly kings, they were warriors. Because in any kingdom, part of the duties of a warrior, of a leader, is to protect his citizens. This is necessary. It's a spiritual duty to protect those who are under you, who the Lord has placed under your protection, whether you're a parent, you're a teacher, you're a spiritual master, or you're a king, president, whatever it is. You need to protect the progeny. You need to protect the praja. It's the Sanskrit word. Praja means the population, protect them. And therefore, that might require fighting. And in Maharaj Parikshit's case, of course, it did. And so Kshatriya kings would go out and they would hunt tigers, they would hunt predatory animals, they would fight them with their swords to actually practice the act of killing, because it was necessary to defend the population. So in this way they would do that. And actually they would, upon killing an animal, that animal would be given the royal right of cremation, as Srila Prabhupada says it. They were given a higher body because of it, because it's necessary for these Kshatriya kings to practice killing in order to defend although it's not something that's encouraged, unless that's your duty. We're all vegetarians here. Being a vegetarian is very helpful for spiritual life. If you want to advance spiritually, very important to be a vegetarian. Thank you, Prabhu. Anything else? Okay, now we're going to chant Hare Krishna. Taruni had a quick question. Mother Sundamani gave me special permission to go 5 minutes over, so you're good.
Okay, I just have one quick question. When you were there learning all these things for these 4.5 months, did you get a diploma? Did you graduate?
Yes, but it's a 2-part program, the Bhakti Vai Baba, so I finished my module 1. I'll have to go back for module 2.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.